apparently I'm phenomenal at sculpting chests. Why be easy when you can just die? Ow! I'm Chewy Mew. Welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew video, where today we're going to be taking a look at a custom that I made maybe about like 5 or 6 days ago. This one was pretty quick. It's not the simplest custom, but it didn't take too long. I'm going to be talking about my custom Marvel Legends Mary Jane. I feel like it looks like it's lagging. Is it lagging? Hey, that works a little bit better. But either way, here's my custom Mary Jane. She looks incredibly pale in the camera. In real life, her skin looks a little bit closer to, like, a little pinkish. You know, I can't win with the lighting. This is really weird how the camera's, like, focusing on her chest. Where, look at that. There's, like, the focus bar, and it's focusing on Mary Jane's chest. Look at that, the yellow thing. I'm doing some strategies where you just record the phone screen. This is going to take more editing than I wanted to. So yeah, my phone's a perf. I don't know why that's happening. That's bugging me, dude. Stop. There we go. Yeah, so this is the head from the... and she came with the Mary Jane head because Hasbro's too lazy to, you know, make an actual Mary Jane figure. They made one before with a different head sculpt. And they made this one, they made a Mary Jane, like, I think it's the same head that they reused for Spinneret. Which, it's kind of stupid that they charged a lot of money for basically a lot of reused parts. That's unfortunate. But either way, here's the two of these. Mary Jane is taller, as Shriek is taller. And also, Gwen has heels. Look at that. Gwen has heels, and Mary Jane is still taller. That's kind of weird. But yeah, this is using the Shriek body, which is also known as the generic new female body Hasbro's going to be using for the next, like, 6 years until people start complaining about it. You know, once the shills start complaining about how bad the body is, Hasbro starts doing something. But this is not just a simple repaint with some stuff here. I repainted the hair. So since I recently discovered, recently being a couple months, I figured out how to add wash to hair. The original hair, I can take the head off here. Can't really see it here. The original hair was this more burgundy-ish kind of color. Dude, why is everything so blurry here? What if I do that? Yeah, there you go. There we go. Okay. But yeah, since I figured out how to do wash here, I painted the hair like a dark burgundy-ish color. Then I painted it again red, and then I used the strategy where I just wipe off the excess red paint. And so only the red paint in the grooves and like the gaps, like the crevices in her hair are the only parts that get the paint on it. I tried repainting the face. I just noticed the lipstick is coming off on her face, so that's unfortunate. Since I also had to repaint the arms because the arms were black from being Shriek's arms because Shriek's wearing like some kind of costume. There is the inevitable paint bleed or paint wear when you bend the elbows. Something with the knees, but at least the knees are blue, so it doesn't look as obvious, and it's also on the back. So it's not as egregious on the knees, and also on the shoulders when you move them up. Paint, you can see paint is dripping off of it, not dripping, but it's like chunks are coming off. Come on, this camera's not focusing today. But yeah, so I painted that. I also had to do some more. I painted the face a little bit. Tried doing some, like, basically, like, a ghetto version of airbrushing. That way the face looks closer to this color, because no matter how much I try, it's like it's impossible to get any sort of skin color with the paints. It's like it just doesn't work for some reason. The only one I managed to get the skin tone to work almost perfectly was Kraven the Hunter, but that's because he has like a more like orange tan looking skin. He has like more detail to his skin, whereas Mary Jane is just white white with the ever so slightest amount of pink. Kraven was easier because I just pretty much mix like a close to, like, I guess white person skin color with a little bit of like dull orange, and then eventually I got the color I wanted. With Mary Jane, I was the same sort of, I guess, like white looking. I have the paint right here. What am I goofing off for? This color, it's called Peach, which is a little close to it. I also used red. I used like, I took a tool, which is one of the sculpting tools, which is basically like a needle. It's for like carving little details and stuff. It's basically a needle. I dipped it in the red paint, and then I mixed it on my tray ever so slightly to make this sort of a pinkish looking color here. It's like slightly pinkish. Unfortunately, in the tray, it looks a little bit more vibrant than it does on her arm here. It doesn't come off easily. Was like the face, I just painted pan on a little bit, and the arms, I sanded down the arms ever so slightly, which it did add a slight texture to her arms here, which you can see it. I mean, if you look really up close, you can see sort of the paint strokes and the texture in her arm. Come on, dude, focus. The little paint coming off there on the wrist where the wrist hinges, that's fine. You don't even really see it on the side of the hand. So the hands The fingers are the only place the paint would really peel off, because I tried sanding down the hands as well. It didn't work. And so sanding the arms gave like ever so slightly tiniest of grooves in the arms and stuff. So when you paint it on, the paint sticks better. Because like if I were to just paint, like for example, if I were to just paint this smooth plastic here, I could probably just scratch it off really easily. But if I were to sand this down and then paint it, it gets like slightly porous, and it gets a little it gets harder to take the paint off. So I did that on the arms. Unfortunately on the elbows, because these are also pinless, because you know Hasbro hates pins now, I guess. I couldn't take apart the figure and sand down the pins individually. So I kind of had to make do with what I had here, you know, which I think it still works pretty good. The shoulder paint coming off kind of sucks. I also sculpted a custom chest. So this is also Mary Jane, based off of her first appearance, or not first appearance. I mean, she did make appearances where you saw her, pretty much her body and stuff, but you didn't see her face. She was like behind a plant or something that her face was pretty much censored. And then you get the classic scene where she arrives at Peter's house and she's like, "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot." And that she's dressed like this. So I tried kind of giving like a sort of tank top look. You can see there's like the collar of the tank top here. You can see kind of the back part didn't work as well, but some parts you can see I tried painting it to make it look like you can see like the armpits, I guess. On the front, especially on her right side, it came out really good looking there. And then the chest is also sculpted, because Hasbro nowadays, with female figures, they're not sculpting overly voluptuous chests anymore. Really weird to say that, but so I decided to go and add a little bit more here. So this is kind of on par with like the Scream kind of body, where it's much more curvaceous there. I sanded down the stomach as well and painted it. When you bend this ab crunch, the paint does rub off, which is unfortunate and stuff. If the paint comes off, I could just take like a Sharpie paint marker and kind of just cover those parts up where it comes off. But also, Mary Jane is not a super flexible character that's going to be doing sort of like acrobatic poses like Spider-Man. She's mostly going to be standing still in like a human-ish pose, not like a superhero kind of pose. So it's okay if the ball joint torso isn't super useful. I did also sand down, or cut off some plastic on the arms to make the arms move up this high, because normally the arms only go up about that high. And so I cut off plastic here. You can see there's like an indent and a groove here. Cut off more plastic so the arms go up higher. So look at that, they go up pretty good. This is the Gwen figure, and her arms go up. Okay, her arms go up a lot higher than Shriek's does. But most female figures, the arms go up barely anything. But you can see like the groove here on her shoulder that has the movement. So the more of this disc hinge, because it's basically a disc hinge, like the same in the neck, the more of this you can see means the deeper the joint. I also, if we could take the legs off here, I didn't paint the back part. Whoopsies, that's okay. Hasbro doesn't bother painting spider webs on figures, so who cares, you know? I cut off some plastic here on the top. I cut off some plastic there on the top so that there's like a bigger groove, and that way spread out significantly farther than most Hasbro figures. We take a look here at Gwen. Her legs spread out that far, so you can see how much farther Mary Jane's legs spread out, which again, that's not super useful. But also, what the problem is, well, is if you use the ankle pivots, the figure leans forward like this. They don't have boot cuts to keep their body like straight up like this, so that's a little unfortunate. Sculpted on, they're supposed to look like jeans, because she doesn't really have high-waisted jeans. They're probably like normal, like jeans are probably like around here. I'm terrible at describing clothing, but it looks a little bit wonky on the back. But don't look at the back, look at the front. There's like paint on the chest right there. I think it looks pretty good. I tried sculpting like the little belt loops and painting the black. Didn't work the best. I tried sculpting the belt buckle, which again didn't work. I'm not good at doing these kinds of details. Apparently I'm phenomenal at sculpting chests, but apparently I'm not really good at sculpting like little intricate details like this. For example, like a belt here. I tried making the zipper there as well. Painted it some gold color, which the gold I use is it's called Royal Gold here. It's a folk art metallic, and it's really metallic and stuff. It's definitely the most metallic gold paint I've ever come across, like, as far as acrylic paint goes. Like, spray paint is also metallic. But yeah, I painted the belt here. I sculpted it on. It goes all the way down here to, like, the cut, or, like, the part where the pelvis is fused together, the front piece and the back piece. So it goes down right here. I just pretty much just did that, and I kind of smoothed it on. I did the same on the back to have it smooth on as well. You also may notice these legs have texture, and they have a sort of bumpiness to them. Some parts more than others. And the way I did this was I actually draped super glue on the figure's leg, and then I took my finger and I just did this. I started just like poking it with my finger, and that kind of like, I guess, the super glue pulled off a little bit, and it left this sort of texture. Like you can see there on the butt, it has like some texture to it. You can see here on the legs as well. They do look a little bit like fingerprints, but as far as that goes, I think it came out looking good. Some parts, the paint just didn't stick too good. Like here, the paint, you bend the knees and the paint just comes off 100%. And the last extra detail I did was I sculpted on like the parts where her jeans end. Because the Shriek figure, it's basically just a plain body, painted black with a couple of white details here and there. Whereas Mary Jane wouldn't work for that. So, you know, like I said, I sculpted these jean parts here, so it looks like her jeans are kind of ruffling at the bottom near her ankle. I was going to paint these like skin color or white to look like socks, or to look like you can see her knees, or not her knees, her ankles or whatever, but I was like, I'm going to leave it like that, because with how much these joints, basically when it comes to ankle pivots, like you see all the motions with the ankle pivot rubs over all parts of the ankle. So if I were to move the ankle pivot like this, all the paint would basically come off. There'd be like a couple little like flesh color or like skin colored chunks. So it wouldn't look that good. It would end up coming off. So it's like, why bother painting it? I'll just pretend that she has like black socks or something, you know? But I think that looks pretty cool. It looks like pants cuffs at the end. There's like a little bit of paint they got here on the leg. I could probably take that off there later. But yeah, but I think, let's put Mary Jane's head back on here. But I think I did pretty good. I will say, I feel like my customs as of late have been getting slightly more advanced. Because before, my customs used to be like, oh, I'm just gonna like swap arms and like repaint this figure and maybe modify stuff like this. Or like Sandman, I basically just super glued chunks of clay shaped like weapons onto his arms. Or, you know, simple stuff that doesn't take a lot of effort, in my opinion. It's pretty simple customs. It feels like something that Hasbro would do, where it's simple repaint. But this stuff, it actually took more sculpting. Like, you know, like I had to sculpt like I guess the sort of tank top-ish, the chest. I had to sculpt like the belt, pelvis thing, and then I had to sculpt the 2 feet at the bottom. I added some kind of texture to the legs. I gave some more wash in the hair, which God forbid Hasbro does, you know. And then, of course, I repainted it to be Mary Jane's colors. And the reason I customized this, the reason I wanted Shriek in general was I wanted to use her head to make a custom Shriek using a Toy Biz body, which is more like cool looking costume, where she has like, and you know, her more dynamic costume, instead of looking like some generic female body spray painted black, which is a little unfortunate. So I had to make a custom for it, and so I basically got like 2 figures. I mean, I didn't get 2 figures for the price of one. I had to buy Gwen, which came with this head. I bought Shriek, and then I had to buy a Invisible Woman to make a custom Shriek with for Toy Biz. So in the end, I kind of got like 2 figures out of kind of one body a little bit, because I don't know how to make head sculpts. I could not make a head sculpt. I've made head sculpts before, but not something like that detail as a face. But either way, that's over this video. Let me know what you think about this custom. I think this custom is pretty good. I think my customs definitely have been getting more advanced over time. I guess I've just improved and gotten better at customs. But that's over this video. I will see you guys in the next review. Wow.